Welcome to our channel of Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School. My name is Kajal Kulkarni and I am going to teach grade 5 SST. Now, in our last episode, students, we had seen all about recording and communicating knowledge. Now, in that episode, we had seen that how we used to record the knowledge means whatever information that I am having, so how I am keeping the record of it. So, in the last session, we had seen that we are having two kinds of keeping the record. So, first one is the written and the second one is oral. So, now if I am keeping some oral records, so what will happen? Those oral records will be limited. Yes, it won't be shared with many of the people. But if I am having written record, the written record is such that it can be shared with n number of people, right? If suppose this book, your book is there, canopy book, right? So, that is the written record. So, in that case, many students can refer and take knowledge from that book. But if suppose we are not having any print and we are just keeping oral knowledge or we are just having the oral information. So, what will happen? See, if I am telling something, if suppose I am telling a story, okay. So, now I told story to one person, right? That one person will share that story to someone else. Now, when that the another person is telling the story to the other person, what will happen? He will get confused somewhere or he will drop down some points and then the story will be narrated to the other person. Now, that other person will tell to some other person and it will carry on, and what will happen at last? The 1 hour story will be reduced to half an hour story, right? So, in that case, communication knowledge or communication information is very limited. It is of no use, okay? It is limited only to few people. So, because of that, what happened? The people started printing the books, okay. So, we had seen in our episode that the people how they used to communicate, then they started painting on the wall. Means if they wanted to talk with someone or they wanted to send some message, they used to draw something on the walls. So, even now we are having those carvings and drawings on the stones in which is very ancient, very old it is, okay. So, we find all such things in our caves or such kind of things. Then we had seen about written communication, that most of the alphabets, like most language, we today use alphabets A, B, C, D, right. So, how this A, B, C, D, who came to means who made it? So, it was in that way, it means it came into existence, all those alphabets, the numbers, then we had different kind of numbers. We had Brahmi, we had Arabic, medieval, modern, okay. So, all this came into existence. Then writing of alphabets and then came writing of numbers. Now, all these things came into existence, but how to keep the record? How you will keep the record? Until and unless you are not having any paper, how will you keep the record, right? Nowadays, the technology is so advanced that we are nowadays doing our work paperless, right? We get for suppose we are having mobile bill. So, mobile bill comes through email, right? So, same way in those days they were not so advanced. So, they used paper. So, how paper came into existence? So, paper, it was the Egyptians who used the stem of a plant called papyrus. So, this papyrus was used to make the paper, and who firstly started using? The Egyptians, okay. So, in our last we had seen that how the bark was made into pulp and then it was spread out to dry and then it was used as a paper. Now, we will start with printing. So, today we will start with our main point, that is printing, how printing was done. Now, printing was developed in China about 2000 years ago. The Chinese cut designs on flat blocks of wood ink was applied on the block and it was pressed on paper. Thus, an impression of the design was made on paper. Now, see the Chinese, in China it was means around 2000 years ago, this printing was introduced, right. So, what happened? They used to cut the wood, means they used to cut the wood and they used to carve on it, on the flat wooden blocks, they used to carve on it, right. And do you all know the stamp? We get the stamps. So, those stamps, how they use it? They just put it in the ink and then they impress it on the paper. So, this wooden blocks were similarly used as printing. So, what they used to do? They carved on the block and those blocks they used to apply ink on it and then put the impression on the paper. Now, this was so lengthy, it was so lengthy that it took a lot of time. See, just think that if I want to type such a big book, now your book is so fat, right, canopy book. So, if I want to print that book and I am having the wooden blocks and with the help of the wooden blocks I am just putting the impression. So, just think that how difficult it will be, right. It will be very, very difficult to complete that printing of the book. So, what they did then, they used to impress it on the paper and this method of printing was introduced in China. Then though the blocks took a long time to make, several copies of the book could be made from them. Though it took very long time, but still several copies were made. Yani, means it only few copies were made, not many, not much more copies were made. Very few copies were made out of those blocks. Then in the year 1450, John Gutenberg of Germany brought about a revolution in printing. He made several small metal molds of the letters of the alphabet. They were called types. They could be arranged to form words, lines and pages. This was called typesetting. Now, in the year 1450, John Gutenberg, what he did? He brought the revolution in the printing process. Now, how he brought revolution? So, what he did? He took the metal bars, okay. In metal bars, you can see in this picture here. See, these are the metal bars. So, in these bars, few words were printed, like suppose carved, sorry. So, if I want to write the sun is a big ball of fire. So, there were many such molds of the letter word the. Then is many see the molds, so many molds. So, just take one the and place it on this printing slab. See how this is done here. So, in this way he brought a revolution in printing. So, now what happened with this? It became very easy to print many books at a time. Okay. So, many books were printed at a time. Now, this helped in printing of many pages also as well as many copies also, and this was called as type. This mold, one word mold was called as type, and this full thing is called as typesetter. See, the movable metal type developed by Gutenberg. Means movable means we can dismantle it, we can remove it and we can arrange again with some other sentence. Okay. If I said the sun is the big ball of fire, similarly if I want to say the earth is covered with 70% by water. So, in such way I can change the sentences using this different kinds of molds. So, he brought the revolution in printing, and with the help of that the printing was very fast. Ink was applied to the typeset pages and they were pressed on paper to get the impression. Once a book was printed, the individual types were taken apart and used to print another book. Now, see, what I told you all is the same thing. What they did, they applied ink to that typeset page and they were pressed on paper to get the impression. This is the typesetting. Okay, this what I want to type, this was arranged in this way, and then they used to apply ink and put an impression, just like a stamp. We have stamp at home, rubber stamp, just same like that. So, once a book was printed, the individual types were taken apart and used to print another book. Now, once I have finished with my printing work, what I can do? I can just remove all those molds and make it apart. Okay, and when I want to again type some other message or some other book, again I have to put those or arrange those letters and again start with the printing. Putting together the types to make a page of a book was much faster and easier than making a block of the page. Books could now be printed much faster and in larger numbers. They became cheaper and many more people could read them. Now, due to this printing which was very fast, see, if suppose we can take one example, that if suppose we are making some very good wallpaper, suppose we are making some wall decorative item. Okay, I want to make only one item for my own house. To decorate my house, I want to make one nice wall hanging. So, I will bring all the material from the market. Now, when I bring the material from the market, what happens? I have to pay for each and every material, but the utility of that material is very limited. Means, suppose if I just want to put one circle and that paper is very huge big and it is costing me 20 rupees suppose. So, I want only one circle from that. I do not need the whole sheet, but I need only a small part, but still I have to spend for that, right. So, what will happen with that? The costing of my wallpaper will increase, but if suppose if I am making the same wall hanging for many people from that one chart, so what will happen? The costing of that wall hanging decoration will reduce. Okay. In this way, the printing also happened. Means what happened? Earlier it was done by blocks, the wooden blocks. So, it used to take a lot of time, right, and those wooden blocks, once it was used, then it was of no use, we had to just throw it out. So, what happened? It became costly. Now, what this John Gutenberg had done, he had made the metal molds. So, what it was useful, like we can change the sentences using these different molds. Okay. So, due to that, what happened? The books became very cheaper and the printing process which was done, the printing process became very fast. Okay. Since it took the molds were pressed at a time, one page it was arranged and then it was impressed. So, it became very fast, the printing process. So, this helped in reducing the rates of the book and many people could read the book because it became cheaper, and due to this molds many pages can be printed at a time, thousands of pages can be printed. Once the mold is set, just keep on printing, right. So, due to that, what happened? Many books were introduced and it became cheaper. Now, the next is Braille, a script for the blind. Okay student, now I will ask you one thing. Have you all seen a mobile means very old mobile, the key mobile, means not the Android one which is now touch screens, not those, the one which were having buttons. If you all have seen such mobile, just see on the number 5 key, there is one small, what you can say, a small impression there which you can feel with your hand, like there is some small part that is coming up on the button, and when you close your eyes and you touch that button, you will immediately find that the number 5 is there. So why that small impression or why that small thing is raised on that button or why that is kept on that button? Do you all know? Okay, so that is just for the blind people. The people who are blind, they cannot, means they can't see. So how they will dial the numbers, how they will use the mobile. So what they do, they take that mobile and they feel it with their fingers. And when they feel the 5, so just before 5 is 4, after 5 is 6, just above 5 is 2, just below that is 8. So in this way, the blind person comes to know that how the keypad or how the phone numbers to, means how to dial the phone numbers in the mobile, but only in which phones? In the keypad phones, okay, not in the Android phones. Now we will start with this Braille script. Now what exactly is this Braille script, students? It is just a page, means it is a book, it is just for the blind people. It is a book, even they can study, okay, from those books even they study. So it is a book and the paper, they have holes on it, okay, and the rough side, the very rough side, they feel it with their fingers. You can see in this image. Can you see the paper is there and there are holes on this paper, right? There are holes on this paper, and what is happening? The person is touching, the feeling, and he is touching and feeling the holes and he is trying to read. These blind students are taught in this way. In Sholapur we are having a blind school where the students are really taught this way. They are very good in singing, even they play sports, they live life like a normal person. So this is the book specially for blind. So this is called as a Braille script. What it is called as? A Braille script. This Braille script is for blind person, okay. We read with our eyes, but how could a visually challenged person read? A special script called Braille allows a person who cannot see to read a book using his or her fingers. The script was developed by Louis Braille in France. In Braille, the letters of each word are printed in patterns of small dots. These dots are raised from the surface of the paper so that the visually challenged can feel them with the fingers. Braille is read by lightly running their fingers along these dots. See students, now how I read, I just kept on reading, but will the blind person be able to read in this way? No, but if the same content is done in the Braille script and if that person is given to read the way what I have done now reading, the same way that blind person will read. Just how they will read? Just put their fingers of both the hands as shown in the picture, they will just run their fingers on that script and they will start reading as fast as we are reading, students. So this, who developed this script? The script was developed by Louis Braille in France. So he developed this script just for the sake of blind people. See, if the blind people are not having this Braille script, just imagine if they were not having all this facility of school or education, even they are educated, right? So if this script was not there, how they would have studied or how they would have come forward in the society. So this Braille script helped the blind people to read and they can, means they were educated in such a way. So as we are reading, they also can just run their fingers on those small dots as I showed you all. Just see the dots how they are. See, few dots are inside. You can see this, few dots are in and few are up. They are raised up on the paper, right? These dots means they are they are printed in pattern and they are of small dots. You all can see it, means with the help of needle, or you can say some pointed sharp things, these dots are made. So with this they just feel it on their fingertips, just running it and read it as we are reading. Okay. So the blind people, how their knowledge, how to spread. Now if suppose this Louis Braille, if he had just orally, if he had done this, he had not made this script and just a few things were taught to this blind people. So was it possible for these people to read now? No, but because of this record what he had kept, the blind people are using it and even they are able to read. Even you all know they can play pianos, they can play music, harmonium, very nice, and they have very sweet sound, they can sing very well. Okay. Next, knowledge, literacy and progress. With the coming of computers, printing has become much faster and better. Metal types are no longer used. Instead, special computer software like PageMaker and InDesign are used to arrange the text and pictures in the pages. If a country wants to make progress, it is important that knowledge be communicated to a large number of people. You know that this is possible only if most people in the country can read and write. Literacy is therefore the key to progress. Unfortunately, in India, a large number of people still cannot read and write. See students, this knowledge and literacy and progress, what it is all the country's development. If we say the country is, India is a developing country, developing means it is not developed completely, it is still developing. Still we have to work on many things to become a developed country. So now what are the things? Even knowledge, or you can say even education is the very important part in developing the country. To make the country a developed country, we need educated people. If suppose the people are not educated, they are illiterate, so what will happen? They will just follow those old customs and rituals, right? They will just keep on doing those what they were olden people were doing. They will just continue all those things, right? So for that, to stop all this, what is important? The people should be educated, right? So now in India, not only in India, all over, what is happening, how the printing is done? With the help of computer. Now we are not making any molds, or we are not having any metal molds, or just put the wooden molds and just put the impression. No, we are just having a computer wherein we have the software called as PageMaker and InDesign. So in this, what happens? We just have to type a matter and give a print command, right? If we give a print command, what will happen? We will get many number of printouts, right? If suppose I want 1000, so in printing press, you all must have, if you all have seen the newspaper printing press, newspapers, they are printed in a huge number. So how that printing is done? Once the command is given to the machine will start printing the page continuously. It will move on, it will keep on printing, right? So with the help of computers, now it has become very fast to take the large number of printing, okay? And the last thing, that literacy, we say that literacy in India still many people cannot read and write. Why is it so, students? Why do you think that the people cannot read and write? Because in rural areas where there were very small villages. Okay, there the students, the children are not getting those good facilities. The people there are very poor, right? They don't have sufficient food also to eat. So how they will do? How they will send their children to school? So what will happen? Unfortunately, those children are left out and they have to do the work. Child labor means they do the work and earn money for their family. So in that case, what happens? The children are left out uneducated, and this helps again in increasing the illiteracy. Okay. So this is how that knowledge helps to develop, to make a country in a developed country. Okay. Now you all must have seen that movie Shakuntala Devi, right? That is the real story, students. Though she was not educated, but her mind was working just like a computer. You all must have, if you all have not seen, just watch that movie just for the sake of, means you have to just take from her that movie, that how she used to calculate the numbers, and it was a very big number. Even the computer used to take time, but still she was faster than the computer. So in India we are having so many personalities, like means they are not coming in front. We have so many personalities that they are very knowledgeable. Okay, but suppose if that knowledge is limited to that person, what will happen? When that person will die, that knowledge will be all finished. So just keep on spreading your knowledge. Whatever information you are having, try to spread it to many people. Okay, so here we have finished with this chapter. We will just see the words. Now script. What do you mean by script? A script is a system of writing a language. As we had seen the Braille script, it is used for blind people. Typesetting. It is the process of arranging text for printing. Braille. A system for writing a language for the people who cannot see. Visually challenged. A person who cannot see. That is visually challenged. Okay. We will see this exercise. Identify the country where the following were developed for the first time. The Hindu-Arabic system of writing numbers. Yes, students, the Hindu-Arabic system of writing numbers. Where was it introduced? Where was it first? In which country it was? In India. So what is the correct answer here? It is India. A script for writing a language. That is, a script for writing a language is Sumerians. Paper from papyrus. Who made it? Egypt. Block printing. China. Reusable types for printing. Reusable types for printing. Who made first? Germany. Then Braille script. Who made it? Louis Braille. And which country he was from? France. Okay. So these were the countries where the things were first introduced. Now multiple choice. In ancient India, knowledge was mostly passed on by writing on paper, by drawing pictures, by printing books, or orally. How in ancient? Ancient means very olden times. How it was done? Orally. Hindi is written in the Brahmi script, Devanagari, Braille, or Sumerian script. Which Hindi is written in the which script? Devanagari script. Paper was invented in India, China, England, and Japan. Where was it invented? In China. Printing using types was invented in Germany. And which of these is the script used for printing books for the visually challenged? It is Braille script. Okay. So here students, we have completed with this chapter, and in our next episode we will meet with a new chapter. Till then, thank you.